You know, folks, ever since NXT originally started back in 2010, we've seen it evolve into what has basically become one of WWE's best brands, if not the best brand they have out there. But yet, it always seems that no matter how good a brand can be, no matter how promising and good those that are a part of that brand can be and eventually will be, if given the opportunity, it always seems that in the end, Vince McMahon is going to sabotage them no matter what. Unless they're the kind of person that he likes. In other words, if they have that look, they have that size, that stature, overall, unless they have that, you're not going to make it. You're not going to be given an opportunity to shine. Let's take a look at what I mean. When NXT first originated, it was all about competition, a select few being called up from FCW, being put through obstacles, competitions, having a match here and there, and that was it. And oh, by the way, they had superstars being the coaches, the pros, if you will. And of course, that was questionable at times because some people felt that certain coaches, pros, if you will, didn't even have the rights to be that. They didn't have the right to be a coach or a pro. They didn't have the right to do this or that. So, whatever. So basically, after years of making NXT into a mockery, so basically a year or so after NXT got turned into a mockery, or basically another version of what Wrestling Challenge and Velocity was, what does Triple H do? Triple H says, you know what? Enough of this shit. We don't even know who... Because let's take a look at the last season of NXT, the original run of NXT. Derek Bateman, now EC3, obviously was the leader. Was obviously the lead favorite to win, except it went to Johnny Curtis, and yet we never really had an official winner with Johnny Curtis because he never officially cashed in. And that was the one concept people would come out and say, okay, we did like about it, that at least the winner of the event got a shot at a championship. And again, I don't even know if Johnny Curtis cashed in his tag team title shot. We know that Wade Barrett cashed in his WWE World title shot, lost. Caval cashed in his title shot for the Intercontinental title, lost. We know Caitlyn cashed in the first time, lost, but then eventually did win it down the line. We don't know about Johnny Curtis. If he cashed in and lost or what. Well, obviously he did because I never looked in the record books and saw that he won the tag team titles. But then, like I said, Triple H comes in and says, you know what, this is making... Basically, Triple H, he comes in, he sees what NXT's become, sees the mockery it's become, sees the joke it's become, sees that it's making FCW look like a joke, and decides, you know what, if we're going to run with this NXT deal, then let's revamp FCW, let's make it NXT, let's let the superstars and divas there become the future, officially be showcased as the future of this company. Let's showcase it to the world. And that's what happens. And after a while, of trying to get the network up and going, fans are finally able to officially see it. Even though they could still see it through Hulu Plus, fans through that and now the network are able to see it. And this is why I think Vince McMahon doesn't like NXT. Because basically what originally was his idea became Triple H's idea, and he despises it. Now you might say, well, what do you mean? Vince McMahon has nothing to do with it. True, he officially doesn't have nothing to really do with NXT, but in the end, he does. Because anybody that gets called up to that main roster is either going to make or break it in his eyes. And like I said, unless you have a unique look, like let's say a Dean Ambrose, maybe a Seth Rollins, a Roman Reigns, a Rusev, a Wyatt, a Rowan, a Harper, you're not really going to make it. You're not going to make it at all. And sometimes, if you do get up to that main roster, despite the vignettes and stuff and promotions and stuff you get to get behind you to make you popular, to make you look like you're going to be a next big star, in the end, sooner or later, you end up jobbing out. Sooner or later, you get turned into a joke. You become forgotten. Let's take a look at what I'm talking about. One of the hottest factions and groups in wrestling for a while, The Shield. They're on fire. What happens? Whether it's Vince McMahon's decision, or Triple H's decision, or combined decision, whatever, The Shield gets disbanded. Now, have they been better off because of that? Some might argue yes. But how long is that going to last? How long is that going to last, folks? Because I'll tell you what's going to happen. I'll tell you what's going to happen. Sooner or later, despite Rollins being Mr. Money in the Bank, which is a good thing, I will give him that, he's going to end up jobbing for quite some time. And I'm not talking just in tag matches or anything. I'm talking he's going to end up jobbing individually in singles matches. Because if you think Vince McMahon, because here's the thing I want you guys to realize. If you think Vince McMahon, even though he might be behind Seth Rollins, he's not entirely. And if you think Vince McMahon is going to agree to allow Seth Rollins to cash in his briefcase and become WWE World Champion, you are dead wrong. You are so dead wrong. He's not going to allow that to happen. He's going to tell Seth basically, yeah, you can't. He'll be like, yeah, Seth, you can cash in, but guess what? You're going to go bankrupt in that match too. And you know what Seth's expression is going to be? Huh? Because he's not what Vince wants. He's not what Vince wants. He's what Triple H wants. He's what Stephanie wants. He's what the WWE Universe wants. But he's not what Vince wants. So even though right now his diamond is shining bright, along with Dean Ambrose, it's going to sooner or later burn out. And it's all going to be because of Vince McMahon, because in the end, Vince McMahon is practically telling Triple H, his own son-in-law, if you will, hey, I don't like your version of NXT. I don't like who you bring up from NXT. They're not what I want. It's not what I want. That's basically what it is. When he sabotages somebody, like Adam Rose has a unique concept with the Exotic Express. Adam Rose, Leo Kruger, if you will, has this unique concept. What happens? For a while he looks good. For a while he looks great. People are behind him. People are chanting. What happens in the end? He's now being jobbed out. He's being turned heel. He's being turned into a mockery and a joke. And why? Because it's Vince's own subtle way of telling Triple H, I don't like your NXT guys. I never have, never will. You take a look at Harper and Rowan. Let's take a look at them. They might be an exception because I don't see that many losses individually for them. As a team, yes, but as individuals, no. Why? Because there are exceptions in NXT that Vince McMahon likes, and those are the big men. Those are the guys that are big, strong, huge, and have the look that he likes. He always has liked. Why do you think he's behind Roman Reigns? Huh? Why do you think he is behind Roman Reigns? One of the guys that is a Triple H guy, but guess what? He's behind him because he has that look. He has that build, that stature. That's why he's behind these big guys. Rusev is the same way. He's behind Rusev because Rusev has that look. But sooner or later, even if he's behind them, guess what happens? They're going to job out. You see, everybody's talking about the fact that Rusev is getting built up so that he can be shot down in a match with John Cena. And that might be true. That might be true, but guess what? The reason he's undefeated right now, the reason he's losing in tag matches by count out or disqualification is because Vince is behind, because he's that one He's one of those diamonds in the rough that Vince likes. He's got that look that Vince likes. It's like I said, unless you have a unique look and even stature and build to you, you're not going to really make it. Dean Ambrose has a unique look that I think Vince can get behind, but in the end, Dean Ambrose will probably end up in the same category. You know what I'm saying? After a while, he's going to probably end up in the same category unless Vince does the right thing and realizes, hey, this audience is behind Dean Ambrose. I need to get behind him. I need to maybe make him champion down the line. And it makes sense. I mean, look at the fans with Bray Wyatt. They're behind Bray Wyatt, whether you want to make him heel or face, and yet Vince McMahon has not really pushed this guy to at least give him a run with a championship yet. Look who has a championship before him, Luke Harper, the former Brody Lee. Why? Because Brody Lee, Luke Harper, has that look. He has that stature. Bray Wyatt has the same thing, but guess what? He's not huge. He's not tall. He has the unique look and concept that Vince can get behind, but he's not big. He's not huge. He's not a giant, if you will. And again, with Bray Wyatt losing at WrestleMania, whether we can agree with it or not, it's Vince's own subtle way of kind of telling Triple H, I don't like NXT. Take a look at Bo Dallas. Bo Dallas has the, you just have to believe concept of being that kind of like parody babyface heel, just like Kurt Angle once was when he started. And what does Vince do to him a month or so after he's been officially on the roster? He jobs out to R-Truth. Instead of keeping him undefeated like people like Spleg Daddy, who did a rant on it, or at least talked about it, said, you know, in one of his Raw reviews, instead of keeping him undefeated to at least WrestleMania or Survivor Series, you have him job out a month after he's in to R-Truth on Monday Night Raw. And why? Vince's own subtle way of telling Triple H, I don't like NXT. I don't like your NXT. You see, and you might think, well, now I know you're watching this and thinking, well, why would Vince even let these guys on the roster if he doesn't like NXT? It's because Triple H has some say around there, and mostly I think sometimes it takes an interpretation between Triple H with the help of his wife Stephanie to get Vince to convince Vince to allow these guys and gals on NXT onto Monday Night Raw. And it might be some kind of part of agreement. It's like after they've done everything or gotten over with the crowd the way they should, or in most cases win the NXT title, then they'll be brought up. Like Adrian Neville, he's going to be brought up now. The Ascension's being brought up. All because, you know, they've done what they set out to do. All because they've gone and set out what they've gone to do, and they have sometimes a little bit of a unique look to them, like the Ascension has a unique look to them. But overall, in the end, sooner or later, Vince is going to find a way to throw subtle hints with them jobbing either to a John Cena, or maybe in Seth Rollins' case, after TLC, jobbing to someone like not just Cena, but also Randy Orton, and then Roman Reigns. It's going to be his way of saying, subtly to Triple H, I don't like NXT. I never have, never will. So to me, this is why I believe Vince McMahon does not like NXT. You just got to look at the subtle ways certain things are happening to superstars. It's Vince McMahon's way of telling Triple H, I don't like NXT. You can bring up your guys and gals all you want. Guess what? As long as I'm still around, they're not going to get the opportunity unless I believe they have the look, the stature that I enjoy, that I can like. You know, you take a look at Charlotte, there's your answer, as some might say. You know, here's a girl that you at least think should get a win in her debut, give momentum for last night's special. Not in Vince McMahon's mind.